meant to say Meech. Meech is
Meech?
yeah, his ping is it's 130 ping. Okay, it's actually a joke that Zazel wanted to say, like make, where we keep incrementing the ping by like 10 or 20 each time, just to see when people would notice.
He's playing on 110 ping, really 1v9ing.
He's on high ping, really high ping.
I think Meech is good too, with his playing with from 140 ping,
170 ping, 300 ping,
350 ping. He got a pentakill with 350 ping.
410 ping.
I think it's 420, which is, I don't know how he reaches that point, because I'm in Taiwan right now and I've been playing League, and my ping's like 160. So he's somewhere even further than where I am. So I have no idea.
That's crazy.
It's actually insane, but he's still able to like go get pentakills, get aces. So I don't know how he does it.
I am.
I'm not gonna worry. We're doing a countdown. You worried me there for a second, but hello, welcome back, guys. What a game to start off our series.
It was.
I
had to cool down because 50 minutes it gets a little hot in front of these lights, but my god, I was just crazily finding the fact that it was so back and forth. DSG had a lead, Fear had a lead. It was like punches back and forth, and it was a heck of a way to kick off our first best of 5.
Yeah, it was a crazy banger. Sorry.
No. I want to hear from you, especially too. You were saying whoever won this first game was going to be, in your opinion, who won the series in 3-1, or did that first game convince you? Is that the script? Is Fear winning this 3-1?
I'll say a little bit, yeah. I think with how the draft played out, I think Fear had like the tools to win, and they used them correctly. So
Good.
I think in the future games, they can still pull out even more wins.
I love this, and I'm not gonna lie, I did start kind of writing up a DSG apology in my head for that first little bit of the game, because DSG, they kind of did come out of the gate swinging, and going to our Toro key drive, there was a couple of moments where Fear, they started to show signs of life, and there was a couple of moments that were really just like, oh, okay, but I think this is kind of where we started talking about Fear a little bit more and more.
Yeah, I think Philip on the Renekton still has to be so respected, but it was the way that I think Fear were approaching this, and the kind of cohesion they had as a team. We got to see that work so well for them in so many moments, and it was a lot of capitalizing on the mistakes of DSG, some of the overextensions, and I think when you give the flexibility that we saw in this game 1 to Fear, you can find a lot of strength in these kind of chaotic moments. And I will say, even though JJ got caught earlier on in the game, he was integral in a lot of the engages that went the way of Fear.
Yeah, Dark Wings too. The fact that DSG, they were getting themselves this little lead, and then all of a sudden Fear come out of the gate. Like, how impactful do you think was, once we got started into that point where they started pushing back, was that to them starting to get that momentum in their lead?
Yeah, it was definitely huge for their momentum. Especially the Poppies stopping the other team's momentums in a lot of these fights. That was like mostly how they won their fights, so yeah.
That is a lot of damage, my god. That is, I thought Meech's numbers were getting pretty high, Manui's no slouch, but that might be Mount Everest of a gold graph I've ever seen.
Yeah, I am maybe just, I don't know, confirmation bias, but I thought DSG was so much more ahead in terms of the gold, but then all of a sudden seeing what Fear did for themselves, I still feel like even though they had so much, it took so long, Dark Rings, for them to be able to close it out.
Yeah, I mean, every time they like tried doing something like deep in DSG's territory, Zazel and Tomi would just find the engage, and it just kept stalling out the games.
That already, to start things off, this is going to be a long day. If these are the types of games that we're going to be getting, and I could not ask for anything more. But of course, while we get ready for that next game, it was 50 minutes. People have to be getting snacks and water after that, and the players too. It is time for our Rally Cry halftime show. So a lot of chaos out there in our very first game. So I figured it might be a fun opportunity to look at these players and maybe kind of rank them on where they lie. Have you guys heard of that alignment chart with like the chaotic good, the neutral evil, all of that good stuff?
Avid D&D player over here, so.
Oh, so we know it's up. So I have made, if we can get my screen, the little bit of bigger one, please, here. I have made a super amazing, super professional box here.
The
So
Sierra GFX, let's go.
I know, I'm trying to
The color
be...
coding too.
I did. I thought really hard about which one lawful evil and chaotic good would be. I'm not gonna lie, but I have pictures of all of the players, and we're gonna decide whereabouts on this that they land. So we're gonna go off the first series, and even just in general, we can go off with their history. But first, we're gonna be starting with Fig God.
Thank God.
Do all the DSG members just go to chaotic good because that's the color of DSG?
Do not make me open Photoshop and change the color right now,
Oh, no,
Lizelle. This
no,
will
no,
take
no,
up the
no.
other 5
Walk
minutes of our
away,
halftime
walk
show,
away.
please.
Oh goodness. I'm
I'd say
thinking. What do you got, Darkwind? What do you got?
I'm like, he's definitely leaning towards the lawful good, I'd say.
I like it. That's where I was going to. I think he's lawful good.
All right, any compelling reason?
I think just with his I think he tries to play the game pretty consistently, so I think that's kind of like the lawful, and then good is where like, for the most part, he's always doing well.
Oh, we said lawful.
He's just
we said
literally good. Yeah,
said
lawful good.
Yeah. Sorry, I color coded them and I still got my own. Yeah, that's all. Yeah, no, don't mind me. All right, next
You just
up.
really wanted to make him lawful evil. That's what it was.
I just was really trying. I was hoping for next game. But
Dude.
all right. What about Philip here?
I'm deciding this one. It's going all the way to the farthest top left corner that you can make it because this man is chaotic evil. He is everything you could ask for in crazy comms, but he's also just an evil son of a gun on the Renekton, man. Like the guy is a monster.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree for sure.
That's just a mic drop. Yeah, no, this man's some chaotic evil out there. How are you feeling about Meech though over on DSG?
Lawful evil? You bear with me? Bear with me?
Okay, I was actually thinking the same thing, but go ahead.
Okay. My reason is because he's lawful. He goes to the book. He knows exactly what needs to happen. He's evil because at the very end he get caught, and unfortunately it doesn't go your way.
Yep, can agree with that one.
That's about right.
Y'all
He's lawful though. I will say he's lawful because the man will follow all the rules. The man will find a way to make an advantage for himself and find those mechanical outplays. Sometimes he's just a little evil.
Yeah.
Y'all are so on the same page right now.
Synergizer. We just cast it together. What happens?
Darkwing's further thought about Meech here in our lawful evil category.
Maybe like slightly down a little bit, but that's about
About
it.
here.
Yeah, right about there sounds good.
All right. Not the most evil out there. We can't put him there. But then Minui and Darkwings, I'll let you go first here.
Minui, I'd say he's I feel like he's a chaotic good person. Just like it's chaotic in terms of, like the picks, but for the most part, you know, he's doing his job.
I don't know if streaming here, Cubby, but Cubby's yelling. He's got some thought.
I would agree because the chaotic fits him so well. He was competing with Philip for the amount of penta words he could use in a lot of their comms calls. So I'd say he's pretty chaotic himself. He's also just such a kind guy. I think that a lot of time when you talk to him, you get to see a lot of that good come out of him. So.
Fair. Now, we're moving on to Zazel. So I know...
You're the beard.
You know, beard... You can rate off of the beard, and then you can rate off of the gameplay for this one, alright, guys?
Okay.
I love that we
All
did
right,
two. Can
beard
we cut it
first.
in half? Like...
Oh,
What is the beard, Darkwings? What is the beard looking like?
I mean, honestly, I'd say it's like lawful evil. You know, the beard isn't
Lawful
too
evil?
like, but like, it's like not too deep in the lawful side. But because like you know, just like it's not like crazy beard, but
It's evil
know.
because esports players can't grow beards normally, and it's just say so.
alright. So where we said lawful
You
evil?
you cut it off.
Here we go.
Say lawful evil, yeah. And then do we just do like lawful good for the other half? So he's got the duality.
yeah.
Duality of man
sure.
right here.
I just crop
This is
into
great.
Justice's face without the beard.
I don't
You're
know.
like, why did you cut Zazel in half? Well, he has two different parts to his face. All right, there's the beard, and then there's the man.
I'm not that good at Photoshop, guys. All right, JJ up next. JJ by himself, I just feel like is a lawful good type of person.
Yeah, he's
I could
definitely
agree.
very far on the good side.
Got to keep all the whippersnappers in tow.
Perfect. Easy agreement on that one. Now we got Young.
Ooh. Young's it's definitely on the evil side, that's for sure.
All right,
Is there
already
a-
move him up here.
But I think he can be like both lawful and chaotic, so I would put him kind of in the middle.
Perfect spot right here. All right, we gotta
Okay.
rose through the next couple of ones because we
Oh.
got a game we gotta start going back to. So next up, Tomio. Oh, exciting! All right, here we go. Tomio.
Yeah.
I think he's chaotic good. I don't know if you've ever watched his streams, but that man is pure chaos.
yeah.
All right,
He's also so nice.
Perry,
move him a little over here now. Now
He's-
Perry.
more of a, I'd say lawful good.
Awful good.
Yeah.
There's a lot on the awful
There's a lot
side
of
over
lawful
here.
good guys here.
All right, well then he's hiding behind the rest of
Oh,
us.
no.
You're
He's
so
like,
cheaty.
no.
chaotic evil.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll put it. All right, here we go. You can hang out right over here with Philip. Perfect. It's a good stuff. That's some good stuff. But sweet. Oh my god, I'm so far behind everything. Hello, we're back. But I'm about to disappear again because I believe I have to be sending the two of you and bring Cummy back in for a draft and hopefully see if in our game 2 if this one is gonna be just as much of a banger as in our game 1. Let y'all find that out.
I didn't catch it. I wasn't able to catch it. I got the sorry, not sorry from Sierra. Anyways, we're getting into our game number 2. It was a 50-minute banger in game number 1. The stress is mounted. Darkwings, I know we have you for another draft, but particularly, how are you coming away from that one? And specifically this mid lane matchup. It was the LeBlanc into the action. LeBlanc didn't necessarily find purchase.
Yeah, I think LeBlanc didn't really accomplish much that game, to be honest.
No, it did not. And you know what? Just gonna throw out a stat out here. You know
Okay.
what Philip has played his last 8 games?
Could it ever be Renekton?
Yeah, he hasn't dropped any of those games, by the way. As Fear, they are actually now on an 11-game win streak, and the last loss they had was actually when Philip was on Renekton, going up against Disguised in the last day of Week 5. So Fear have been so damn hot. They've yet to drop a game since they faced Disguised in Week 5. And we instantly see the adaptation being made in the draft. Look at that. Darkwings, no more Poppy for Perry. So switching things up. I feel like that ban was very much warranted.
This is very good for DSG. They needed that Poppy out of the game.
I think they leave Sedge Malachi up now. I think you leave them both up. You trade. Thoughts?
Oh,
Yeah, there it is.
But
Thoughts
now
are
you get the
non-existent.
Sejuani for free.
Oh yeah.
Do you just go for it again? Like, why
Yeah.
not? It works. All right, there it
And
is.
Renekton Trundle. I think that's the
We've
swap.
gotten the Trundle hover. I
Yeah.
do wonder if we'll actually get the pull out in this
If
specific
not,
matchup.
You could take the Ziggs now if you really want. I don't think we go Aatrox here as Philip because
Philip's
there
baiting them, man.
could be a Jax coming in. I
can-
think Jax would be big.
I think it'd be another ball comp for Fear. With the Seraphine up, they might be looking to pick it on 3.
You're right. That could be so big, actually. A lot of the
That's a good
flexibility
point.
there.
It could be Lilia. Legitimately, we have seen Lilia actually sneaking back into the meta a little bit. But I think that's a good shout, Darkwings, as that is another adaptation we have to be aware of.
Kindred
But,
is up.
Okay, Kindred is up.
He makes it, dude. This is something that Perry talks about all the time. Like, if you cannot give this champion to this man, he got a penta on it earlier in the season, but it also just enables his aggression so much. We talked about him wanting to be the general. Well, he also wants to be the sword of Fear, and I think the Kindred enables you pretty well in that regard, Darkwings.
Yeah, I'd like to see like a Jax Azir maybe.
Yeah, I'm
DSG.
very much with you. You can play Jax now that you're not into the Poppy, and Azir is actually a decent pairing with Sejuani. It is not a melee for DSG, but it does give them a lot of control over that Namus Respite, which I think is why you're going to call out the Azir here, right, Darklings?
Yep. This is like the classic Sejuani comp. You have like good front to back. You can dive as well.
I think Seraphine's locked in here. This is flexible.
Yeah.
It's very playable into Azir, actually. So this could be a Shochi champion as well, even though we expect it to be in the hands of Manui. So this is the Fear Special, the pick that was perma-banned away from them in spring. A pick that we've seen them pick up in the back half of summer. And we'll say it's a different look, because, yeah, I like what we were talking about with Parry on the Kindred. I think Parry's Kindred is fine. But it is a champion that doesn't fit the identity of Fear that we have really seen emerge in the back half of the season. He's 2-3 on the Kindred. Yeah. We know he can play it well, but he's going to have to step up with this Seraphine because Harry can really be frontlining when you do have Seraphine as a Kindred. So I'm really curious to see how aggressive he's able to push this and play this.
I like this focus from DSG, though, taking away that Yone yet again. We also get the Aphelios towards Meech. It is something that was banned away in game number 1. It's something if you give over to Meech, he can find so many pop-off moments on. But I do like the split focus in the second phase here as well, as that Sivir actually respect banned by Fear.
This tells me they're going to take Rakan on 4 again for JJ, even though Alistar is up and available, as I don't think you want to give over Xayah Rakan. Darkwings, you get one more ban as the Azir. What are you asking for right now? Is it LeBlanc?
I wouldn't say LeBlanc. Honestly, we can go for anything. Oh, what? I don't know, but
why
I
not?
guess I just got scared of the Akshan.
Get scared.
Wouldn't say Akshan's very good here.
Provides a little bit of respect and maybe some openings for Fear here. They will have the counter pick available to them. They already have a lot of these matchups set in stone, but we're actually looking at bot lane to be the final picks here potentially if we do get that flexibility, and that Zig still provides the flexibility for Fear.
It is a double flex. I expect the Seraphine to be mid. I think that's a better matchup into Azir. Actually, an older counter, especially when you get the Rylai's. But this does give over the Xayah Rakan that I was a little bit scared of. When I saw the Sivir ban, I thought for sure that they would be taking Rakan, but Xayah Rakan's a lot of pressure now for the bot lane to deal with. JJ, does he go something like Senna here? I don't think that's enough frontline. I think they need a frontliner.
And the Rel's still up. I think you could go for the Rel.
Yeah, Rel's fine. He does love his Alistar too. Could be an option. Yeah,
Alistar can be good here.
I just feel like the Lovers duo for DSG is going to give them so much safety from that bottom lane. I would expect some kind of frontline engage to come through. It is the Nautilus, so you have that lockdown potential there, but a little bit of different cohesion, it feels like this time around, Darkwings, from the comp of Fear.
Yeah, I mean, I thought they were going to have like a more beefier comp with Seraphine. Well, honestly, it's looking alright. I mean, both sides can definitely win this game.
So Shochi has played 1 game of Ziggs. Has yet to play Seraphine this split. It was a double flex for them last time around. They have until 20 seconds to swap. I was expecting to see Ziggs paired up with Nautilus and the Seraphine mid. I think Seraphine pairs better with Kindred, and Ziggs Naught's fine. So do we see?
So that's not gonna be it.
Not
I think the lane matchup is easier for Ziggs.
Yeah, I want your final thoughts here. We saw Fear come away with a big game number 1. What do DSG have to do here in game number 2 quick?
They need to get leads and pull the trigger. This is their team to go in and fight.
All right. Well, we heard from Darkwings, but now we got to see it from DSG. We're getting into game number 2, so let's go ahead and say goodbye to Darkwings. We'll see you right afterwards. Hopefully, we'll be getting into game here shortly. And I think when you look at the stress, the amount of pressure that both these teams have on their backs when you're looking at potentially booking the first ticket to our grand finals in our first best of 5 of the LCS Challengers spring or summer split rather. It is interesting here, Cubby.
Yeah, because I didn't see this one play out, especially with that Ziggs being mid Seraphine bot. I kind of thought they'd put Seraphine mid for the synergy with Kindred. Not gonna be the case. Different flavor for Fear, but same theory with the mages.
And we actually got to check in with Zazel. I know we got to hear from Shochi in game number 1. Let's go ahead and hear what the leader from the game has to say.
Most of our preparation is going to be in scrims, but since we're swapping to a new patch and what is essentially going to be a 4-day turnaround, We're just gonna play with specifically me. I'm playing like probably double the amount of solo queue I usually play, so trying to get as much info about the patch as I can, and got to try to get a playoffs buff going.
That playoff buff, oh, so important for a potential return championship. 3 of these members on Disguise. But I was also filming some content behind the scenes with Zazel, and it's been really cool to hear how he's trying to pick apart the meta, the different things that he's trying, and he is forcing the hand of Fear in a lot of these positions.
Yeah, and I do want to at least pause and see where our junglers are starting here as Zazel. I think his Rakan's fantastic this game. Or I should say, has been fantastic this split. I think it's one of his stronger champions, and we'll see if he can utilize that side of Rakan that really have some pressure for Disguised here, as it will be mirrored clears for our junglers, as each of them going to go from their own red buffs to the Krugs. Means Sejuani is going to be working up to try and attack that Renekton, and it is something where... Oh, nice stretch one. Nice little chunk there for JJ.
Trades, but you should get some damage right back to you. Not level 2 yet, but they're facing down JJ. He does have to burn that flash early. Does have the Hex flash, though.
Well played here by DSG, but I want to see if Tomio can get involved in the top side as that Jax Renekton matchup. It is one where I think that with the Sejuani, you can beat Renekton with it as Jax. And we see Fake God doing a really nice job of getting shove in early. Jax, more of an auto attack based champion, whereas Renekton very spell based. So Jax able to get shove early on in this matchup. Curious if we actually see him base on that third wave to try and sneak in a bonus item. So he does try and then fight Renekton on the bounce. That's where I expect Tomio to be up there to try and help out if possible. As, oh no, we're going to have Proxy. So we get a 4th wave, and then he's going to base. So very safe here for Fake God. He knows that Barry started on his side. Hit that.
Fake God got to play his favorite champion game number 1. Now he's back to business on the Jax and trying to find those early advantages, as you were saying, get that quick back into the reset there for them. But now we're actually looking at this bottom side path for Perry, see if they can get involved anywhere, right? That is something we talked about a little bit in draft. It is a champion that has a bit more of a boomer bust style than I would say Tomio Sejuani.
With Seraphine, you really are empowered to step up as the Kindred, and that's where we're going to have to see Perry. Really, because when you are Kindred, you can play from that range. You have the move speed. We've seen Blabber do it with Milio, how he pretty much frontlines on Kindred with the Milio buffs. You can do the same with Seraphine when she procs that double W. And we'll see if Perry is able to play really aggressive, bait out a lot of cooldowns that DSG will throw at him, and then move on from there. Where we see Tomio actually sneak around a ward. See that ward from Philip was dropped on the wall. Tomio has snuck up here, thrown a lane ward down to see if Kindred makes her way to help out Philip. So that's a lot of safety for Fake God. He has an item advantage, and his goal right now is to try and fight this on the bounce. So he did get Philip to drop a cannon creep. Philip respecting that it is a double Doran's right now for the Jax, and Philip will be on the back foot in this matchup.
Still perfectly comfortable on the Renekton, but I do like to see this early move from JJ. Actually, a big theme we saw in game number 1 was the early proactivity of Zazel and JJ themselves. On the Nautilus here, you can have a lot of impact, and especially setting up Shochi for success. Young will not get hit by the lollipop this time. He says, no, I don't want a candy from a stranger.
It will be a Raptors invade, though. I like this, as the bot lane did just base. Manui was able to TP back, so Fear has pressure on this wave. This is really good map play from Fear, as JJ should be able to sneak out of here. Zazel's trying to come help out, but no dice. Just going to be a brute force, and Perry able to pressure the Sejuani with a little bit of help from friends.
And that kind of pressure on Tomio does dictate his movements and a lot of what the reactions will be. Perry going to go the other side as that Scuttle Crab does despawn. He's looking at top lane where a big wave has been seen crashing for Philip, and a turret played there too. DSG on the other side gets the dragon.
Ocean Dragon's really nice to grab first. I think this is the most impactful placement for the Ocean Dragon itself. Perry is actually going to get a mark off this Gromp. It's kind of nice. And Philip should be able to proxy another wave if he wants to with the help of his junglers. So Perry, the response right now from Disguise, take that dragon. Perry's getting the most out of the counter. and the fact that he has a good idea of where Tomio is showing. So props to Perry. He is playing a matchup where he just want to get himself a little bit more ahead. Taking these camps away from the Sejuani uncontested will set up Perry to have a very big clear next. And also props to Tomio for responding in kind, as he has been getting in and taking the Wolves and the Gromp away. So it's a little bit of an awkward map state, but I feel like each of our junglers here are making good decisions.
And I want to highlight Tomio a little bit more as well. It's been really cool to see his growth, not alone finding a championship finally after feeling like such a top-tier jungler for us for a long time in development, but able to continue from strength to strength, right? I feel like we've seen this guy grow so much from the days I was casting him in amateur, but to now, and the way that he's been flexible with a lot of the teams he's been on, it shows just that grit and the drive, right? He might be kind, he might be a little bit chaotic. The man himself is a pivotal piece to DSG.
You know, it's funny. I really haven't considered Tomio a top-tier jungler. Like, I feel like this is a league that is stacked with junglers.
I do.
Even despite a championship, I don't think Tomio was really considered a top-tier jungler for me until this split. I feel like Tomio has really shown some more growth this split. I think that the way that he plays has really helped enable Young to open up a champ pool that he's more comfortable on with the Sylas and the Akali. And Tomio seems to be getting more out of these supportive champions than other junglers, when Tomio was originally known as a carry jungler, AP jungle specialist with the Evelynn, even the Graves is kind of what I thought about when Tomio was coming up. Yeah, so I think this has been a really nice split of growth for Tomio. As mentioned, a year of growth. He has that championship under his belt, the improved play. Really feel like that has been something that I've been waiting for from Tomio, to see if he can become more of that cerebral jungler, make better decisions in a league where jungle is a very competitive role. And Tomio, I feel like has stepped up more this split than last split.
If he can capitalize on that here, he will strike in bottom lane. And even with that encore, first blood goes to Meech. As all the emotes come up, Manui, he's about to get dove under tower. He's just committing to the bit. Tomio will have to flash, but it's 2 kills now to DSG.
Beautiful play from Disguise. Said they'd have some pressure with that Xayah Rakan. They cash it in there as Tomio did burn his splash, but no other flashes burned. The bot lane falls for Fear. Fear will respond in kind with the Rift Herald for themselves, but DSG will take that as Meech is ahead.
Perry is on 3 marks already, 8.5 minutes in. Pretty impressive. Now we do see that catch on the bot lane, and Tomio striking right when we were talking about him.
Great chain from Zeyzal as JJ just pops like a balloon. And then the chase. Zeyzal takes as many tower shots as he can. If Meech healed a little bit earlier, Zeyzal might have been able to take one more. They could have saved the flash of Tomio from that if they were able to juggle it a little bit better. But the big item has been hit. It is a Kraken Slayer for Meech, and Fear, they've responded by trying to pressure the top side of the map. Tomio to smite that away, but JJ's here.
Tomio in some trouble. This is the response from Fear, and it's feeling a lot like
Perry.
game number 1. Is it going to go to Perry? And he gets his 4th mark on top of it.
Great sidestep from Perry on the grand entrance from Zeyzal. Zeyzal read the play. He's up here to try and respond, but too late. Now Perry is going to try and
no. Oh no, he's stunned up in the middle of it. Fake God trying to come over. It'll be all right for now, but it is yet another mark. Perry is hitting the slots right now in the RNG.
Does feel really nice for the Kindred. And honestly, this is a game where I want to see if Perry can carry. Funnily enough, Perry, he actually pinged me last night. He's like, hey, I'm not just a tank jungler, I feel like everyone's kind of talking about my tank jungle play. I can play carries too, right? This is the game where Perry can prove that. We have seen Perry be very successful for his team when it comes to those tank junglers. I feel like the decisions that he makes, Perry is a smart player. When other jungler shows on the map, I always feel like Perry is responding well. That has included this game. But Perry, he's got a little bit of a lead now on this Kindred, the only person that has a kill on his team so far. He took the carry where I feel like the team identity with him on the tanks has been really sound, so he's got to prove that he can make the most of this lead and make sure that Fear can cash this one in. They want to move to 2-0.
Looking pretty good already. I know I talked about it in draft. This guy loves to play this pick, and they are willing to flex to him, to give him the sword when it needs to be done. And this game number 2 could be a step in the right direction for Fear, put themselves on that match point, but we are far from that moment, and we are far from Perry finding any reaction down here on the bottom side, while Tomio is looking for a bit of a lane gank that will go wide.
I think that he's just here to wait for a potential dragon spawn. as Zazel's
Dragon
gonna
number 2.
move up here in the river. Yeah, taking these on time for this guys. I like this. You have Zaya, Rakan, bot lane. Sejuani's a very strong jungler early, and you can see Fear and Perry are already going to see this one over. In fact, Perry is kind of happy that this dragon is going to be started. He'll happily get this one over
He's
free.
gonna get a 6th one.
Yeah, he's going to get a bonus mark, and we'll see if
It's
he can set
11
up,
minutes in.
see if he can set up a dive maybe with Philip. Yeah, you do hit the next threshold at 7. That is pretty significant. Tomio's actually going to drop that dragon.
Oh, they're going to find it. They are
Zazel.
fully looking at bot lane. That Encore goes in, but Manui's life is no more, and JJ will soon follow him to the grave. Again, another split, and he goes 1 to Meech, 1 to Tomio. Disguised, nowhere to strike.
And we talked about Zazel's Rakan being strong. Also, Zazel as a leader, I think we're really showing that mixed mash here, as I feel like Zazel has been our strongest support in the league. The direction that he gives his teams, and also his individual play too. Rakan, a champion that Zazel has always been very clean at, and his impact has been massive in this game. He's even going to utilize his priority bot to actually roam mid and make sure that Young cannot be dove. As Fear feel on the back foot this game, and a lot of that is because Zazel has been making the plays with Tomio, with Desire Rakan to set Fear behind.
That combo is the power duo for Disguised, and was a power duo for Cloud9 Challengers last split. The tower in mid lane does go down to the siege, and Shochi comes up big with that one. I will just say, though, Meech having 202, had the Kraken Slayer already, went and backed, and also bought boots. He'll have a lot of strength in that bottom lane as well, and maybe even looking to take some more plates down there.
That's a good call. I'm wondering if we see any swaps coming out here, as, yeah, the Manui's going to be stuck mid. I think that this is fine, as Manui, curiously enough, looks like Kindle Gem. It does lead into the Seraphs, but I'm hoping we don't see an Everfrost from Seraphine. I feel like you don't really need that, which it could also go into, finishing that Mythic Verse. I think big key here for Fear, if you are Shochi on the Ziggs, you want to be ahead of the item curve. Ziggs, when he does get ahead in these solo lanes, you can do enough damage to really find one-shots. I feel like that's something that APA abuses really well. And we haven't really seen Shochi get ahead quite yet. Zazel, we spotted. Play to a fruit. JJ's looking here, but I don't think this is favorable for Fear.
Tomio is actually going straight
nice
in
buffer.
now. And will be buffered out, and JJ, you look at it go back in. Perry's on the other side. Mega Inferno Bomb out top, but Lamb's Respite needs to come out. It's not there, and it's Disguise who find the big pick. Manui will have to flash, trying to take down Young, who flashes anyways. And Manui, he gets one back, but he'll go down as well. This is some of that chaos from game number 1, but it's coming back early here in game 2.
Harry goes in too early. He didn't want to pop the Lamb's Respite until they got a kill. Ends up not being able to pop it, as Perry a little bit too aggressive with his lead there. I think that he had to flash out of the route and then Q back in to maybe find a kill and then pop Lamb's Respite after. That's a tough ask, though, mechanically. We'll take another look. It's a great buffer from JJ to start things off, as he is able to sneak out of the Glacial Prison, but then watch Perry, because it's a good execute on the Young, right? They find the Charm, they find the Ziggs Bomb, they want to try and one-tap the Azir, but Perry gets insta-queued from Tomio into the chain from Zazel. No chance to get down Lamb's Respite. That's a tough ask for Perry to flash out of that. I think he just went in too early, too aggressively. Young tried to get the kill without going down, does burn flash and dies, so a little bit of a bummer there for Young, but still Disguise able to find Perry early on in the fight, make sure that this map is still winning and in their favor.
And definitely is. Slightly, at least. Fear back on the map. Not one to lay down and watch it come to them. They are going to start up this Rift Herald. See if they can go ahead and grab this one, right? Zazel did take that first one. See now, though, Fear able to get this one, and that just means you can play to Shochi's strength of the Siege. Maybe even look at this top side with Fear already pinging up that way.
Yeah, I like that call out there, Mazel, as I think that Fear dropping this early could be good for them. Philip is going to drop the bot.
I don't even really need it up here.
They don't. They can go for an inner push if they really want.
If they can do just that, going to get some damage down here. I love this show. She's just making sure, you know, there's nobody behind us, right? Nobody's behind us, right? He's just throwing out some of the bombs.
Creative way to stack the passive, you know?
Yeah. Now we do actually see, though, Tomio out on the map with Zazel and Young. They're looking at this top side, see if they can catch out any stragglers up here. as this is the combo. Meech gonna come join them, give them some damage. 3-0-3. He is the big carry. JJ ends up seeing Meech on the transition. Shochi be able to poke them down. Tomio going forward. He does have that Glacial Prison, but he gets engaged on. Not going to be fully engaged on, though, with that wall around the corner. Mega Inferno Bomb, Feather stormed out of. Encore does get flashed out of as well. We got flashes being burned everywhere. We're antsy today in game number 2.
I think it was necessary, though, from Meech, and a good bleed on the ult coming out from Fear so that he did have to flash the Encore from Manui. That's good team play, as that are now a couple of long cooldowns that could be punished. This upcoming Dragon, it spawns in 35 seconds. That's a really long cooldown rank 1 Xayah ultimate, as well as the flash being taken away. Here we're going to get those ultimates back, and I think they're going to look to rinse and repeat on the Meech.
And that's where I do want to bring into play some of the conversation around the 5-on-5s, because that is something that was a little bit differing to think about in game number 1. In this one, I do feel like Fear have a little bit more strength and, I guess, more of an executable bar for themselves if they can find a big team fight in the fact that Manui on the Seraphine will be so clutch.
It's less frontline, and I think the Seraphine still needs a little bit more time to scale, and Seraphine actually did go for the crown. So not wanting to get one shot here by DSG. Early flash from JJ. Hazel able to sneak away from that dredge line, but here does have control over the bot river. Herald.
There's a lot of split going on. So top side tower will go down to Young. Bot side, we have the charge coming in. Not going to get the turret. It was dropped. It was taken out. Dragon now the focus. We got TP coming in for Young. They are trying to get this 5-on-5. You have a flank for Fake God as well. They've got to try to man mark him here. Fear feeling a little bit crazy, a little bit want of chaos. As now we're into it. Reset for this Dragon. About half health here. Tomio still in the pit. The rest of DSG just waiting, buying time. Zazel decides time is now. Big catch out on Manui, but the Lamb's Respite's big. The Emperor's Divide back splits the fight really well. And DSG, that split, that delay, that changes the fight in their direction, but Perry snipes them back. Fake God's gone, your Counter-Strike is out, and that means Fear look forward. Meech gets sniped down by Shochi as well. You can't eat bombs like that if you're not expected to explode. The Dragon goes to Fear.
Young ends up on a wrong side of the fight, and despite a great engage from Zazel, he flashed over a dredge line to start that one off. This time the Lancer's fight goes down. Watch this from Zazel. It's going to start from Tomio, but he flashes over the dredge line to JJ. Right when he sees the animation, pulls the flash. It's a big engage onto Manui, who gets very low. Gets onto that Lamb's Respite barely. Young tries to peel for Meech. Does so successfully. But then the retreat, a little bit better here from DSG. Perry just able to snipe out Fake God in the back half, just barely thanks to the vision. And then Young gets split. That bomb forces Young to go down. He can't walk up because if he gets dredge line, he dies. Shochi able to find Meech because his summoner spells were gone. No flash, no ult. DSG still tried to take that fight despite their most fed member missing things.
Oh, Shochi was able to take down an outer tower, but he'll just go down. He's actually trying to clear the wave a little bit with his Mega Inferno Bomb before he dies. But that was an incredible cast. Now you see the damage done. Shochi, big damage in that last fight. Did just complete the Rabadons as well. But it was the back and forth, and the fact that, you know, those bombs are hard to keep track of in those big moments, and Meech just can't pilot it out without the Featherstorm, without those summoner spells. It becomes that much more difficult.
If you do not have access to those tools, you get outranged by Zig, Seraphine, and even the Kindred, who already has 7 stacks. Almost 7 stacks. He's still at 6. But it's really difficult for Meech if he doesn't have those summons, so I'm very surprised that DSG actually elected to still take that fight with those tools missing from Meech. But Meech, you can see he has the Gale Force instead of the Navori, recognizing that he is playing against a team comp that has more range and that he has to really play with his own range. So going to use the Gale Force to try and close the gap or escape. I like that adaptation coming out from Meech in his build. He understands what his job is going to be in this game. It is very different because of what Fear is throwing at him.
He's going to have a lot of safety there as well, if he can get the combos and find that spacing. On the other side, we are getting 2 item spikes for majority of members on the side of Fear, as well as majority of members on DSG. But I like that Kraken Slayer Trinity Force combo for Perry. You're going to have a lot of strength there, looking for that 7th mark as well, getting onto the map. And for a guy who has been so integral to his team for their, recent history as well.
Team's turret has been destroyed.
So it's Baron spawn. We do get to take a deep breath. I know, talking about recency, but I think we're gonna have some more fights here. As JJ, he's gonna pull the dredge line. That does
That's
get
a Feather Storm.
That's a positive trade, and that's what Fear are gonna look to do. Keep on bleeding that cooldown away.
Tomio has no way out of this one. He's gonna have to flash if he wants to. He's locked down though. It's Zeyzal who trades his life for Tomio's. In the end, I don't know if that was worth it. Zeyzal is gone, and that means Fear are looking at mid lane now. Young and Meech, those are early flashes. They will end up having to trade that down. Meech didn't burn his, so he still has that safety, but pings are alive onto Baron. I think that's a little bit bold.
I don't think we're going to see a Baron start here as...
as you say it.
Okay. I mean, they do have Seraphine healing. They want to pull DSG into them. We have a ward. Young is TPing the behind.
Fate
got hooked.
Fate God's the one that took the bait, actually. He does have the counter-strike, but that is not enough today. Meech is standing up, but he's about to be put down. He's getting burned, but he doesn't go down in the end. You don't have the range so far from Fear. They don't have the Mega Inferno Bomb, but they got what they came for. They got the TP out of Young, and they killed Fate God.
And you can see, like, playing Jax in the double mages feels terrible, man. Fate God just got rooted in one shot. When was the last time we saw Jax melt that much? In a comp game? It really is the comp from Fear, and I love how Fear is pushing any lead that they find. They get a kill, they recognize they can deathball with the Seraphine, who's now even going for an Imperial Mandate, man, as Manui just continues to cook with his build. And Young and DSG, they don't have an answer for it.
It blows my mind how many times we have to learn this lesson from Fear. You let the Seraphine through, you'll be regretting it the next time you hit the Rift against them. And you have to be careful of it. Tomio and the rest of DSG, they're forcing the hand, though. They're trying to make a replay on what Fear did, but that's not their time. It's not their place to do so. JJ's gonna go down potentially here, but both Fate God and JJ are still alive. You've got the range. The Emperor's Divide from Young is so big. Re-engage from Zeyzal, but look at Perry this entire time. He was untouched. He's cleaning up the marks, and he's cleaning up the toast as Disguised are taken out one by one.
Oh my
it's
God.
Detriment. It is absolute domination and a 3K lead into the Baron for Cincinnati Fear.
Someone check on Sierra. The 3-0 Fear looks pretty damn good right now. As Fear, the double mage comp, it's so good. The group up. Watch this. It starts off with JJ that's engaged. The dredge line is huge. It's the poke from Shochi, and then the follow-up. Everyone stacks, and there's so much upfront damage. So many tools have been burned by DSG early on. The fight gets easier for Fury in the back half, even despite some heroics coming out from Young. Perry's arriving to the fight late. Young re-engages once he sees Manui's flash. Gets a big scoop and score. But Fate God was already out of the fight. Look at him, he's recalling to the top side. So yes, it's a good engage from Young, but he was already too low. DSG, they needed to continue to retreat, get Fate Gods back to base, because he could not join that fight at all. If Young goes in when maybe they have the DPS, it's good, but that's really, with the power of Fear and this comp, the upfront damage that you get with the mages is so big as they take down DSG, take the Turo Baron buff for themselves. And now we're going to get a second Mountain Drake in the game as well, so much more difficult for DSG to overcome the comp from Fear.
Trying to take down JJ here. They might do so. Encore comes through. Mega Inferno Bomb, about half health on Meech, and that's just the point. Like, they have so much response for Fear. They're able to work together so well, and that's a second Mountain Dragon in a row.
And I don't think that DSG, like something that I saw from DSG in their series against TLC later in the split, is that when Fate God was on the Gwen, on the Fiora, it was actually really tough for DSG to side lane. They were punished very hard by a TLC with Harry trying to side lane. Fate God has been grouping up into a Seraphine for the entire game as Fear. They are dictating the pace of this game, forcing the skies to play to them, as Tomio will get cut off. Fear retreat, and as long as they're stacked up as 5 with the Seraphine, it is so tough to force them out, especially now that they have this lead.
But we've said that from the beginning. We've said that since you saw the style of composition Fear got. And honestly, at this point, it's something you have to respect going in Game 3, even in the second game, because they find so much strength in compositions like this. When you have Philip on his Renekton, who he's been popping the hell off with all playoffs long, and then you have the actual undercurrent strength that we've known Fear for, the flexibility in draft, the Seraphine that you always have to spend a ban on, and now the Ziggs that has become so strong for them here in the summer playoffs themselves.
It's also one where feel like there are so many mages that are playable bot that it almost is like DSG is like not worth throwing a ban. Now, I do think it's worth throwing a ban at Seraphine because she does allow for you to 5-stack like this in Deathball. But you can't ban Ziggs out when you know that Manui, he has not been hiding the Xerath in solo queue.
He is not.
He's played Vigar. Vigar is playable as well. So it's like, if there's 3 champions that got a ban, it might as well just give him the Ziggs. We'll see if that is a change that is made moving forward for DSG, but they really feel like this game is doomed for them. Look at how badly they're getting outranged here as all the poke coming in from the mages. DSG can't approach. This could be another tower fall.
And you also have to remember all the stress that comes into this one. We've talked about the ebbs and flows of this series as a whole, but this is also a best of 5 to be the first team booking your ticket to the Riot Games arenas for our grand finals. And Fear are stepping up to the plate, even with everything that happened this morning, even with all the chaos of trying to get into the boot camp. Maybe it is just a boot camp diff here.
Again, JJ said, game-changing. Everyone's on the same page together as the dredge line connects. Zazel got around the wall to
They
get all
get
the
the
way
encore
in.
every time.
There
You
goes
just
Zazel.
can't do anything. There's the engage. Zazel trying to charm him up, but Young is a big piece of your damage. He's just trying to survive. They are split, though. Actually, disguised. They pull apart Fear, and Big God goes in for a killing blow. He's on a killing spree now. He might just go down to Shochi and JJ, though, as now Philip has found the back line. You can't give this man the Renekton. He will chomp you to pieces, and Shochi realizes they have the advantage. He'll get the Blade Caller to the back and back off, but Fear will take down a couple members, and they'll still look to siege down here.
Big God was massive in that
Oh my
fight.
God! Oh!
One minefield into the satchel charge. He goes down. I do want to give credit to Fake God. He was huge in that fight, forcing the backline. That flash made sure the Lamb's Respite never got off from Perry. He wasn't expecting it, didn't react to it, didn't burn the flash or the Lamb's Respite to get out. So that actually gave DSG some reasonable shutdowns, some more gold to play with. Very important from them, but still, they're the ones that are ahead and winning in this game. Azazel is going to try and prevent Philip and Shochi from basing. He does have some war. That's the one war that he had to set up a TP. Play will get called off. Fear going to be able to escape.
I will just say as well for Fear, this is a monumental moment for them. I will say they weren't necessarily the favorites last split. They made a heck of a run in the spring playoffs. They made an incredible finish that fell just short of their expectations for themselves. And the fact that they are in such a big position in a decisive best of 5, our first of the summer playoffs, it just feels like that growth is coming to fruition. The anime arc, not only for this Shochi, but the entire team is coming alive.
It's everyone. The fact that they get to play on that stage. You know, Perry wants to get up there again. Philip, the part of LCS, he wants to be on that stage again. So hold on, Perry.
You gotta be careful. Look at Philip. He's on meat. You can't do that. You've got to pay the tax to the crocodile under the bridge. As Pinka goes in, he's just dragged out by JJ, and Manui gets the kill in the end. Philip is still fighting a 1v3, and he ends up pushing Young and Tomio off of it. Fear, they're putting the thumbs down because they're trying to put the end on this game. And Young is gone. Everything coming clutch for Fear. First game took 50 minutes, but we'll take just over half that for this one.
2-0 Fear as Disguise have been on really the back foot in this series. It's not like Disguise haven't found leads, but the double mage comp getting online for Fear 2 games in a row now, where they're able to push things over the edge and take down the nexus of Disguise, as Fear 1 game away from booking that ticket to LA.
Experience is all good. You can have a championship, but when you have cohesion like Fear has, when you have the power of friendship and the Reaper at your side, there ain't nothing that can stop you. What a way to kick off this best of 5. And now we're in reverse sweeps territory here. If Disguise want a chance at booking that first ticket, they will get knocked to the lower bracket. They lose this next one. We got to send it away to a little break on the other side. We'll have Sierra with the halftime bid. But before we do, you have to remember that the LCS Challengers League is brought to you by Turo. As the premier marketplace for any large car sharing marketplace, actually, where you can book any car that you want. You can have it for a special occasion. You could just drive off into the sunset, or you could drive to the Riot Games Arena, where we'll have the LCS Challengers Finals. Now, make sure you forget your boring car rentals today at Turo.com. And we'll be right back with that Rally Cry halftime show.